Did you guys see what just happened? I want everybody who watches this and views this to see what just happened. Phoenix bitched at me because I cut him off asking him a specific question he claimed he was going to give us the answer to, and then never gave us the answer to the fucking question.
I know, I noticed. Yeah.
What specifically did you watch? What
no, you
did
didn't.
you watch?
No, you didn't.
What shows got you into Marvel? That's what I was trying to get out of you, because I knew you weren't going to give it to us.
Okay. So we're going to backtrack 5 minutes that I lost. Now, I don't get these 5 minutes back in time. If you were listening correctly, I specifically stated I wasn't watching that many towards my teenage years. I got really into it when the movies came out.
But that's not how you started the conversation. The conversation says I liked Marvel because I used to, growing up, I watched more Marvel. That's what he said.
Yeah, because I was doing a synopsis and I was leading to, hey, I watch Marvel.
All right, whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You said because for you, so you said that Marvel for you is more human than the other one.
Yeah, in terms of like traits. I don't know. The way I was thinking of more emotion, I was able to relate more to it when I was watching it, like as they do, their backstory and stuff like that, even though I couldn't fully relate to it. But the theme of the movies is really what I was trying to get at. So I not really grew up, but like just recently through the movies is how I got more into Marvel. I didn't watch it when I was younger, like more specifically because I was studying and I was always in school, so I didn't watch it as much. I didn't say, hey, let me go watch the Justice League every Saturday. I didn't do that. It wasn't until the movies recently where I said, oh, damn, there's an Avengers 1, there's an Avengers 2. Oh, shit, there's more backstory to it. Let me start watching more of the movies.
Okay.
But Check Monster didn't listen, bro. Every week we go through this.
Nah, bro. You go back and you replay what you said. You specifically, whatever. I'll move on.
Go ahead, Tasha. Go ahead, Tasha.
All right. Okay. With me, with the shows that I used to watch, I started with like Batman, the animated series. I would watch Batman Beyond. I'd watch the OG X-Men with Storm with the white suit and Wolverine looking beast. I was, I watched that. I definitely saw Justice League, Superman, all that stuff. So I say I definitely grew up with DC more than I did with Marvel. I didn't get into Marvel until after I was working already in the movie theater and like when Iron Man came out. So obviously when I was older, but I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like my number one for Marvel. As far as DC, Batman for sure. So, but if I had to choose one, I would probably go DC. That's me. I feel like it's just, and most people would be like, oh, I expected Marvel from her. No, I kind of like the darker aspect with like DC, what it offers. Because let's be real, it's a little darker than it is with Marvel. So I love it. I want to see Phoenix. I want to see Batman. I want to see the gore. Let's go.
See, with me, as I stated before on the last episode that we did about Marvel and DC, I stated more like I grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons like Phoenix, and most of that time, and watching DC movies. So mostly, I'm a huge Batman fan, Superman fan, and I'm talking about Christopher Reeve Superman. So I knew more about DC than what I knew about Marvel. Then Saturday morning cartoons introduced me to Marvel with the X-Men. I started loving the fact that the mutants and how strong they were, and the magic and all the special effects and all that. Storm coming up and then seeing Phoenix rise and all that, to me was badass. And then Wolverine was like the badass out of all of them, right? So then like Phoenix mentioned earlier, then the movie started coming out. So I started leaning more towards like more Marvel, and I like the way the movies are, because for some reason Marvel gets it right. Whoever does Marvel movies, they get it right. DC tried it. It doesn't work out, but I do love the individual movies of Batman. I love the individual movies of Superman. Not all of them, but and for me, like if I was to choose between DC and Marvel, I would go more DC, just because of Batman and Superman.
God damn it! This is not where
I'm
I thought
waiting
this
for Shaq
conversation
bro.
was
His
going to go.
face is like
Because it's just not where I expected this conversation to be going. Like,
lead it. So
no, meaning it's not a bad thing. I'm not.
Minutes.
I know. I'm not saying that's. No, I don't mean. You guys understand what I'm saying?
No, I know.
So very similar to what Messiah said. So like, when I think about the comic books, right? And when I used to, like, if I was going to read a comic book, it was a DC comic book I was into. Like, I remember I had a collection of the Death of Superman comic books and that whole storyline of all the things that happened after that, right? Growing up, like, yeah, you did kind of grow up on DC, right? The Batman, the animated series, the Justice League was freaking stellar animated shit they did, you know, but there was other stuff that I did like I did love. I mean, believe me, X-Men in the 90s was like one of the greatest cartoons ever. And they revolutionized the storytelling. That's how good it was. Like, I watched this documentary about the things we grew up with in on Netflix, and it talked about how they were one of the first animated series like ever to have continuity from week to week and build off of shit they did the week before. And then the X-Men would have things that, like, they would have multi-part like series, like a mini series within like 3 episodes long and shit. But everything that happened before still played a part as to what was going on in the upcoming weeks. So that's why when they announced that they're going to bring that shit back, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. But growing up, yeah, I mean, if I have to really sit down and think about it, other than Spider-Man, who, same thing Tasha said, like, was always my favorite character. I think the reason for that is he was the most relatable to me, right? I'm a very, you know, I was a scrawny kid growing up, you know, kind of nerdy a little bit, but, you know, and then he got these powers and he got to be cool, but he never let it go, like, great power. And so he always had that responsibility to it. Like, I just love that storyline and everything about it. So it was very relatable to me versus any other character. But as a whole, I was just shocked because I really didn't think everybody else was going to say DC, because I would have to say, if I had to choose between the two, I like DC better than Marvel. The problem is like we talk about, though, they go into, so Marvel, the way they set up their movies after some failures and everything, and they had failures, right? With Kevin Feige running the show and everything, and the big plan of it all, and the casting and like, they did great. I mean, and it brings people who didn't really care about, like, were as into Marvel into the Marvel universe. And that's what I always hate, is that DC, yeah, they didn't start off bad, right? The Christopher Reeves Supermans weren't bad movies. The Michael Keaton Batmans were great, with Tim Burton directing, great movies. And if they would have allowed for them to get, this is the problem. The people in power don't want to get out of their own fucking way, and they ruin shit. And if they could have just stepped aside and allowed the shit to continue the way that they were doing it, was just, I mean, they were on the right track, and then they got away from that, and they got all fucking crazy with it, with the fucking, I mean, who was the fucking other Batmans they had? I can't remember their names. George Clooney, Val Kilmer, and they started to get away from what made the first two Batman good, right? And they got away from all that, and it fell downhill. And the thing is, other than the very short time with Christopher Nolan in the other Batman series, they never really found their way back, right? And you know, the reason Christopher Nolan was so good, and the reason why that couldn't succeed, was Christopher Nolan even said that this will never have, the world he created, there could never be anything expanded outside of it, because he was never going to allow for, like, his world was a world without Superman. There was no Green Lantern. There was no Flash. The Christopher Nolan universe was humans, right? That's it. There was no superhero and with powers, right? This was humanistic people who had real things going on, and that he wanted to follow that path. And so it was just they would never have the opportunity to do what they wanted to do with it. But overall, I mean, I definitely think DC, I think they have better villains. I think they have great heroes. I just think Marvel Cinematic Universe changed the game for Marvel to put them in a stratosphere right now that
and the casting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, the Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like they just
really.
Oh my god.
I think for
Really?
me, it's gonna be Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi?
I haven't seen that one.
I
Shang-Chi.
don't know what Shang-Chi is.
Shang-Chi.
I'm like, you're not
Shang-Chi.
saying it right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just finished watching it.
I told you.
Now there's on
It's
Disney
good, huh?
Plus. It ultimately became my favorite movie. I used to love Ragnarok, and I still do. And I love all the Iron Man movies except for the third part. But I love the 1 and 2 was really interesting. But when
Shang-Chi's good, but I don't. The problem is it's a first, right? So there's not enough. There's not enough going on yet for me to be able to be like, oh, that's the best one, right? It's not there enough.
For me, I grew up watching as a kid. My uncle used to take me downtown Boston and Chinatown, and we used to watch kung fu movies. And that movie, did a great job because Iron Fist, I think it was Iron Fist, on Netflix. That ruined. I was like, I hated it. I loved the storyline, but I hated the choreography, like fighting choreography. I was like, whoa, this movie's whack. This show is whack. But the only thing that got me was the actual story for me was good. That got me to watch the whole thing, but I never watched a second season if there was a second season. But I can see the punches coming. I can see the choreography was just horrible. They didn't put no money into it. But then when I watched this movie, I was like, holy shit. I was saying the guy who directed this movie and the choreography behind the kung fu and all that, all the fighting styles, should have been the same person that did Avatar. Like this guy. No, I'm saying this guy should have done Avatar.
No, Avatar's a completely different movie.
On a side track,
yeah.
Did y'all play Injustice, the video game?
No,
I played it.
Yeah.
But
I played it. What happened?
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's when I was like in between both like either DC or Marvel. When I started playing Injustice, I was like, oh shit, they actually got more superheroes than I thought. But I still went to Marvel.
Yeah,
but the thing with the movie,
that's a story within the story. That's a different story.
Real quick, Phoenix, before you go, just to finish what Messiah was saying, I will say the fight scenes and the choreograph and everything they did in Shang-Chi was fucking amazing. That bus scene.
Choreography, what did you say?
Shut up. The bus scene was dope as hell. The fight on the side of the building, dude, epic. Like they did an amazing...
fight when his father meets his mother, that fight scene was pretty badass.
Well, that's like old school kung fu there.
Yeah.
That's not like, but the other stuff is just, they did a really, really good job at it.
Aquafina killed me. I love her. She did
a great job in that movie.
Oh, she's great in it. Yeah. She's absolutely hilarious. And the fact that they brought some characters back, like that made it good too.
Yeah. Okay. So to kind of jump on this, your favorite, let's go with Marvel. Your favorite Marvel movie and your least favorite Marvel movie. I'll start. Me personally.
Go ahead.
Standalone. Like honestly, I personally enjoyed Black Panther. I could watch Black Panther over and over. I thought it was a great movie. I don't really look forward to them making another one. I feel like it was fine as it is. Don't add to it, but I'm sure it's gonna go that way.
They have to because of the storyline they're trying to build. That's the problem. There's rumors that that's where they're gonna bring Neymar into the world. Like they're
Neymar, the soccer player. Well, the kickball player.
I can't stand him. The fucking king of Atlantis, motherfucker.
Oh, but I don't know. I don't know deep into the story like that. Remember, I don't read the comic books.
There was also rumors that's where they could introduce Storm because Storm is supposed to be a part of
I'll be badass.
Of a neighboring country.
Aren't they married?
I don't know.
T'Challa, I thought T'Challa and Storm were married.
They might have, but obviously they can't directly go that direction now. But there's supposed to be a conflict between the two, or something that Storm has a lot to do with Wakanda and stuff like that too.
Okay,
I didn't know that. That's actually interesting.
Black Panther, my favorite. My least favorite, honestly, I definitely have to say Iron Man 3. Like, I just felt like it dropped the ball for me.
Yeah,
I get it. He was going through a lot of PTSD vibes, but I was like, that's not the Tony I want to see. I want to see the Tony partying in his suit and pissing on himself.
The part 1 and part